What you know, and if you don't write it, that means you will lose marks. But what you know, if you write properly, that is how the evaluator will also get to know that you know that concept very well. From each and every chapter, you get a 10-mark question. See, understand, this is the scheme which you people should know. Please read all the chapters, because knowledge is something more than the marks, is what I always tell my students. Please study workers' participation management. This is very, very important. Workers' participation management. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students for the model question paper of Human Resource Management 4. And let me tell you here, the questions which we predict, the question which we feel that it will come, definitely the same question gonna come in the main examination as well. So that's the reason all the students always watch Vidhyaashram College and its premier classes. Now let me tell you here, students, whenever you go for any examination, we need to know the first thing, that is the syllabus. Now when we go with the syllabus here, Human Resource Management contains 5 chapters. The chapters are like this. The first one is employee empowerment, where you may get a 15 marks question as well as a 10 marks question. And let me tell you here, even you will get a 5-mark question. That means what here? 15 plus 10 plus 5, 30 marks in one chapter. Now there are totally 5 chapters from employee empowerment to the strategic human resource management, which is also called as the SHRM. Strategic Human Resource Management. Now understand here, the second chapter is employee health and safety. We need to actually see the health and the measurements and the safety of each and every person who is working in the organization. That is what the human resource manager does, right? And here the third chapter we have is industrial relations. Now, industrial relation and industrial dispute, earlier it was supposed to be one single chapter, that is the third chapter and the fourth chapter. If you understand human resource management 3 also, we did the same thing. Performance appraisal and performance appraisal method is actually one chapter. The same way here also, industrial relation and industrial dispute is actually considered as one single chapter. And the 5th chapter is totally different, that is called strategic human resource management, which happens in the 21st century. You need to know the strategical approach. So if you go with the 5 chapters here, namely employee empowerment, health and safety, industrial relations, industrial dispute and strategic human resource management, if you want to get this 80 on 80, 80 on 80, what is that you people should do is go for a SMART approach. SMART, smart approach, and that is what the Abhilash Chandra tricks to get 80 on 80 with minimum effort and the maximum quality. Let's go with the QP pattern here. The question paper pattern says that there are 15 marks question, 10 marks question and a 5-mark question. Now 15 in the sense there will be 2 questions which you are supposed to write, and totally you will get 4 questions here. That means 4 chapters, 4 different questions, only 2 you are supposed to study. Next here, when you go with it, you will actually get 5 questions. In that you are supposed to write only 3. That is what you get 30. And the last one is here you will have 6 questions and you are supposed to go and study only 4 is what you are supposed to write. So here 6 questions. That means what? See, there are 5 chapters. When I go with 5 chapters, here you need to study only 2 chapters properly, thoroughly. Here you need to study say 3 chapters, because you are supposed to write for 10 marks, and here the last one you are supposed to study 4 chapters. How much? 4 chapters. 4 chapters. Now let me tell you here, there are 6 questions in the sense, one of the chapter you get 2 5-mark questions. So there are totally 5 chapters. So one of the chapter will have 2 5-mark questions. So that is what the trick is. So which chapter will have 2 5-mark questions? That chapter will not be here in the 15 marks question. This is what the smart way of analyzing a question paper. And Vidhyaashram is the only college which does everything for the students, for the sake of students, because we are only for the students here. So when we go with the scheme of valuation, how the scheme of valuation will be, say part A we have for 15 marks, how the questions will be prepared. Say example here, when you go with a 15 marks question, the first question will be from the first chapter, that is the employee empowerment. So how the question will be framed in the sense, they're going to ask you a question that is saying that what is. Now the minute you get what is, say example employee empowerment, E, what is employee empowerment? Explain the benefits or the essentials or whatever the questions they have. So what exactly happens, 15 marks, how it is divided is, say let me just tell you how exactly it is divided. 2 marks you are supposed to write, that is for definition, say 1 mark for the meaning, or it can be vice versa, say 1 mark or 2 mark for the meaning and 1 mark for the definition. So always what is that you should do is, always you need to prepare yourself for a definition, then meaning. So you need to go with, whenever the definition comes, that is all about according to Ordinal, according to Dale, according to, that is what you are supposed to write, a person who has defined what is employee empowerment. So 2 of the meaning and 2 of the definition, that is what you are supposed to go with. If you take the first chapter, read the definition as well as the meaning and you are supposed to write. See, what you know, and if you don't write it, that means you will lose marks. But what you know, if you write properly, that is how the evaluator will also get to know that you know that concept very well. So what exactly you should do is, what you know here, you need to write in the examination. So let's go with the definition and meaning, right? So what is employee empowerment? Define it, write the meaning. If you don't know how to define, how to write the meaning, please watch the YouTube channel where you are supposed to go to Vidhyaashram channel, subscribe our channel, and then you need to go to this link called Abhilash Chandra Human Resource Management for the first chapter, where I have done the first session itself, the meaning and definition of employee empowerment. Please do watch, and if you like, please do share as well as like the video. Let's go with the next question. The next question can be here, the continuity. What is employee empowerment? Then they'll give you some other questions. If you have 2 questions, how it is divided? Say here we got 3 marks. Totally it is for 15. So still we have 12 more marks. So how you are supposed to divide is, divide them for 6 marks and 6 marks. So that is how you people need to go with. That is what the scheme of valuation will be. Say example, you get a question which says the 3rd chapter. The 3rd chapter is all about human relations, that is industrial relations. So the 3rd chapter is industrial relation. Now here what will be the question? What is industrial relations? Or what are the problems of industrial relations? So these are the questions, right? So when you get only 2 questions, that is, one is what is, next is there are only 1 which you are supposed to go. Now what happens is, the meaning and definition is 2 marks. Plus 2, that is 4 marks. Total you have 11 more marks which you are supposed to write. 10 points is what they want you people to go with it, and then you get 15 on 15. Many of the faculty, they say that in theory nobody will get 100 on 100, but it is all wrong. The evaluator of University of Mysore, they are so genuine that if you write quality answers, they are the people who gonna give you 15 on 15. So never doubt on the evaluators. The evaluators will check thoroughly, properly. If they feel that it deserves 15, they will definitely give you 15 on 15, because there will be a chairperson, there will be a person who will correct, there will be a reviewer, there will be external, everybody are there, and all the people are a faculty who feel that if quality is there, they will definitely give 15 on 15. So any faculty, whoever tells you that in theory you will never get out of out, it is all wrong. You will definitely get, and we have taken 100 on 100 in theories. That is what Vidhyaashram is very famous of. Now let me go with the next one. That is the part B. That is the valuation which goes with 10 marks. Now when we go with the 10 mark here, you have 5 questions and you are supposed to write 3 questions. So that means what? From each and every chapter you get a 10 mark question. See, understand, this is the scheme which you people should know. So example, we have the first chapter, second chapter, third, fourth, and we have fifth. Correct? So there are how many questions? There are 5 questions. In that you need to actually write how much? 3. That means what? There are 2 extra questions for you people. That is like a extra player for you. Now, there are 3 chapters. Now, any 3 chapters if you pick, that is how the smart way of approach which you are supposed to do. Please read all the chapters, because knowledge is something more than the marks, is what I always tell my students. And here when you go with this, understand, any chapter if you take, read a 10 marks question. When you go for a 10 mark question, how is that you are supposed to prepare is, whether they ask you the meaning or definition or anything, please write introduction about that particular question. Then you go with the meaning of the question. If you go with the definition, it is actually good. And then you address what the question is, and then you write everything point wise. Don't write essay type questions. Like, you need to go with points and explain them. That is how you people will write the answer. So you will give the introduction there, then you go with the meaning, the definition, then you address what the question is. Say example, they would have asked you about trade union. So they will not ask you what is trade union, explain the problems or how to strengthen trade union. They're going to ask you, explain how to strengthen trade union movement in India. Now what is that you should do is give introduction about trade union, meaning and definition about trade union. Then you give them the suggestions of how to improve trade union in India, and then points and explain, you go with it. If you can go with it, this is how you are supposed to write so that you get 10 on 10. That is what you need to go with. Conclusion. What is it? Conclusion. Even in the 15 marks question, if you go with it, please take the same suggestions here also. When you go with what is something like that, go with the introduction first. Introduction. Then you go with definition, meaning, then you address the thing, and then lastly you go with conclusion here also. You will definitely get 15 on 15, and here in the part B also you get 10 on 10. The last scheme is there called part C, which is for 5 marks. Now they always write something like this: write a note on, or they give you the heading write a note on, and then they give you say 6 topics. In that 6 topics you are supposed to go with 4 topics. That means what? 5 chapters are there, 6 questions. One of the chapter you have 2 5-mark questions. So the same chapter you don't have a 15 marks question. This is what you are supposed to understand. So when you go with it, I have seen and have evaluated many papers where what people do is they write 4 to 5 lines or 4 to 5 points. Let me tell you here, don't do that. Play this examination as a game. How is that you should go with this? Say you have part A, you are supposed to write only 2. Take 1 entire hour. That means what? Half an hour for 1 question. Now when you go with part B, there are 3 questions which you are supposed to write. Again, take half an hour for 1 question. That means 1.5 hours. So remaining we have half an hour, right? So this is for the part C, is what many people actually go with. You are supposed to write 4 questions. Now what is that you people do is, you don't even take 2 minutes to write this 5-mark question. 5 marks, at least, I'm telling you here students, at least you need to maintain a strategical time of say 6 to 7 minutes for 1 question, 6 to 7 minutes is what the minimal which you people need to go with. Here also 1.5 in the sense, it's not like you finish within 1 hour, so half an hour you will actually take a break. Don't do that. Here 1 hour, here you go with 1.5 hour or 1 hour 20 minutes. Here you have say 40 minutes if you get time here. Spend 10 minutes for each question. So you have 3 hours. So in that 3 hours you are supposed to write well, and you need to check what you have written also. It should be meaningful. That is how you will get 100 on 100. Say here you got, supposingly you got 80 on 80. And in the internals you people know how well you have done. Let me tell you, if at all you have not done anything in the internals also, you get 80 marks here itself. So be prepared. Exams are coming very near, and let's go with the questions now. So 5 marks I told you, 10 minutes or at least spend 6 to 7 minutes. I have seen n number of students, the minute somebody leaves the hall, they also get tempted and they also feel that even I should leave because I'm not able to understand to write anything more. So let me tell you, part C is that all basic questions they're gonna give it to you people, whatever you have studied for 15 and 10, the sub points would have been the questions here. So start writing more. You may feel that why should I write more? I have written everywhere. The same thing, if I repeat, what happens? Let me tell you, please write more, because the mantra is very simple. The more you write qualitatively, you will get more quantitatively. That is what it is. So let's go with the next one, that is the model paper. How the model paper will look like. Say example here, the first question is, what does employee empowerment? See, 15 marks is that. How the scheme of evaluation goes with. The scheme is like, you go with the introduction first, then you write the meaning of employee empowerment, then the definition of employee empowerment, then explain the benefits and conditions for effective empowerment. So here what the question says is, there are 3 questions. This is the first question. Say explain here, the benefits is the second and the effectiveness is the third. So 15 marks, how is that they have divided us? You can go with here 4 marks. The remaining you can allot to these 2 things. Next is, what does employee health and safety? Again here, this is the second chapter question. Explain the occupational hazards and disease. Again, you have what? 3 questions. So first one is here, employee health and safety. What exactly it is? You need to go with introduction, meaning, definition. Explain the occupational hazard. This is the second one. And the diseases, third one. In the occupational, what all the diseases which you will actually get infected, the possibilities are. Now, I have done this in the chapter concept where you are supposed to go, just watch. I've given you all the answers here. The minute you watch, you will get an idea. And yes, the PDF notes and everything is given to the Vidhyaashram students. You can actually take the notes from us. We are always there welcoming you people to give our notes to each and every student, whoever aspires to be a person who can write more answers. Next one is, what is industrial relations? Again, a question mark here we have, question mark. Explain steps for good industrial relation and causes of poor industrial relation. See, again, you have 3 questions here the same way. This is the 3rd chapter. The 4th chapter, what is industrial dispute? Explain forms of industrial dispute. See, here we have only 2 questions. One is, what is industrial dispute? So this is for, say, 5 marks. Explain forms of industrial dispute. You have varieties of forms of industrial disputes. Write the points, say 10 points you write. After that, 10 explanations you are supposed to go with. Each explanation should be at least of 6 to 7 lines of the points which you are supposed to go with it. Very easily I have given you in the premier and the concept classes. Please do watch those and you can write more than what I have done. Because the minute you get to know the concept with your own communication skills, you can write more. So go with quality, not the quantity, go with quality. So these are the part A questions. Now the part B question, if you understand here, there are 5 chapters, but I have given you only 4 questions. So the last chapter, which is called the Strategical Human Resource Management, I have not included a 15 marks question there. If you get a 15 marks question, how exactly it will be? The same 10 marks question, what would be? Would be a 15 marks question. That's why part A and part B, how exactly you are supposed to study is, you need to study both for 15 marks. Any question comes, you can write for 10 as well as 5 as well as 15. So prepare yourself for a 15 marks question, not a 10 marks question. Part B is all of 10 marks. Now the first chapter and the first question would be from the first chapter. That means what? What is quality circle? Again a question. Explain the features and problems of quality circle. So you may get this question for 15 or 10. That is how you people need to predict, and then this is how you people need to study. Explain the types and protection against hazards. Again, see, this can go to the 15 marks question or that can come to the 10 mark question. What is trade union? Again, this is the question mark here. Explain problems of trade union and measures to strengthen trade union movement in India. A sure question which you are supposed to study. It's the same repetition of HRM 1 and HRM 2 where trade union was there. You people have already studied trade union. The same way you are supposed to go. Give an introduction of trade union. What is trade union? definition of trade union, and then you go with the problems of trade union and measures to strengthen trade union. Usually what happens, 10 marks in the sense you write 5 points each. Let me tell you here, don't do that. You need to write 10 on 10. So it's like 10 points of the problems and 10 points how to strengthen the trade union. These are the things which you people need to go with. Why? Because never restrict your answers. You don't know how much they're gonna give it. So what is that you should do is, if you write more, you already got an idea saying that, okay, for this answer, you will probably get 9 marks, 10 marks, 8 marks. So don't predict what they're gonna give. You write whatever you know. So take half an hour for each and every question of 15 marks as well as 10 marks. Next we have is, what is SHRM? Now SHRM means what? Strategical Human Resource Management. So you need to go with it. There is one of the theory which is very famous, which I have taken a special class for you people. Please do read this. That is Michael Porter's theory, Michael Porter theory. Also, there are so many people who say it's Michael Porter. It is actually Michael Porter's theory of competitive strategy. Please read this. This is a short question which you people will actually get. Then I have given one more question from the same chapter here saying that explain approaches to SHRM. So here there are 2 questions. One can come for 10 marks, another can go for 15 marks. So anything can happen here. So if you take that 5th chapter to study for the examination, please go with these 2 questions. Very, very important these are. Now how to select the chapters is, any 3 chapters if you select, it is more than enough. You will get more than 75 marks. Let me tell you here, if you select 3 chapters out of 100, you may get more than 75. If you take say 4 chapters, you will definitely get 100 on 100. That is what the promise from my side it is. But already the internals marks is already locked. How much you have got, I really don't know. But if I go with 80 marks, say if you want to take 80 on 80, if you take 3 chapters also, you will get 80 on 80. Work on with the 5 mark question with 2 or 3 other chapters, right? Next, explain the approaches to SHRM. Again, here also, you need to go with the meaning of SHRM, the definition of SHRM, why SHRM is very important, and what exactly happens if SHRM is there, and what happens if SHRM is not there, and then you go with the approaches of SHRM. So these are the things which you are supposed to go with. Next one we have is the part C, that is a 5 marks question. Now here 6 questions I have actually given you people. The first one is, write a note on forms of workers' participation. Please study workers' participation management. This is very, very important. Workers' participation management. This can also come for a 10 mark question or a 5 mark question, but this is not for a 15 marks question. Workers' participation management, it's for 10 as well as 5. So prepare these for 10 marks as well. Write a note on types and causes of accidents. You will definitely get a question from accidents. So please go with the types and the causes. Which one they're going to ask you 5 marks? Very, very difficult to predict. But I'll tell you, if you know the types of accident which happens in industries, it's not like road accidents. Like in industries, what are the accidents which can happen? So those types you write. And why it happens, the negligence of the laborers or the employees or the employer. So even that you are supposed to be aware of, and you will get 5 on 5. So write at least 1.5 page or 1 page for this. Take 5 to 6 minutes or 6 to 7 minutes, or even you can take 10 minutes if you have time. Next is social security. See, now in human resource management, these are the very, very essential topics called as social security. You may get a question of social security even for 10 marks. So that much important it does. Please go through this. Next, reason for joining trade union. The minute you go with trade union, there are 3 questions. The first is the meaning of trade union. Second is problems and measures to be taken in the trade union. And the last question is reasons for joining trade union. So prepare this for 10 as well as 5. Next we have is industrial tribunal, national tribunal. All these things will actually come in the industrial disputes. So if you have seen the question, say example, I'll just show you the question, how exactly the question will be. Say here 15 marks. What is industrial relation? Is that the same way? What is industrial dispute? Explain forms of industrial dispute is there, right? So if you study the forms of industrial dispute, this 5 marks question, industrial tribunal and national tribunal, will be very easy for you people to just write a note on those two. They're gonna give you only one, so prepare for these two. You will definitely get any one here. Next one is corporate strategies or competitive strategy. Now here, please understand the same question here. We have the approaches to SHRM. We have the competitive strategy here. We have, if you go with these two, easily you can write corporate strategies and competitive strategy. That means what? Any 3 chapters if you take, read those chapters thoroughly without deleting any topic, without skipping any of the topics. Only then you can actually get 80 on 80. Any doubt regarding the sessions, please do call us. All the best for all the students here. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.